Hello and welcome to Dining with Death, where we discuss infamous cases of death and murder that have an element of food to them, and then we cook the food from the case. I'm Stacey Lee. Let's begin. John Winston Lennon was born October 9, 1940 in Liverpool, England, to Alfred Lennon and Julia Stanley, but was raised mostly by a childless aunt who often played Elvis Presley records for him. His mother, Julia, bought him his first guitar in 1956, an inexpensive Galatone Champion. Only 2 years later, she was hit and killed by a car walking home. Lennon was traumatized by his mother's violent death and used it as a creative inspiration for songs like 1968's Julia. Lennon was shiftless in high school, and his teachers considered his efforts weak and his energy misplaced. He failed his university entrance exams, but was accepted into Liverpool College of Art after his headmaster intervened. At age 15, he formed a skiffle band named the Quarrymen. Skiffle bands were influenced by American jug bands and jazz bands. Lennon met Paul McCartney at the Quarrymen's second performance, and he asked McCartney to join the band. While rehearsing at McCartney's father's home, Lennon wrote "Hey Little Girl," which became a top 10 UK hit in 1963. McCartney wanted to hire his own friend, George Harrison, to play lead guitar. Lennon thought that at only 14 years old, Harrison was too young, but then when he heard Harrison play, he asked him to join. Stuart Sutcliffe, Lennon's art school pal, later joined as bassist, and the group called themselves the Beatles. Maybe you've heard of them. I don't know, but they were kind of a big deal. The band was booked for a 48-night residency in Hamburg, West Germany, and were in desperate need of a drummer. They asked Pete Best to join them, and the residency was a hit and continued through 1962. The band hit mainstream success in the UK by 1963, and in 1964, they made their US debut appearance on The Ed Sullivan Show, which made them instant worldwide stars. Their US shows featured screaming fans where teenage girls often passed out and wept upon seeing them.
February 1964.
I love some of these old videos. It was such a different time back then, but I like it because it shows that even though we have a lot of differences between that time and this time, we have always loved our rock stars. The band went through a couple of incarnations. Ringo Starr was brought on board, Stu Sutcliffe left, but in March 1966, with the newest incarnation of the band, Lennon caused an uproar when he said in an interview, "We're more popular than Jesus now." The comment went unnoticed in the UK, but you know, some people get very offended by things like that here in the States. People were so outraged that they burned Beatles albums and sent threats through the KKK. These threats led to the Beatles' decision to stop touring. After the band's final concert on August 29, 1966, Lennon got into filmmaking and made How I Won the War, where he makes his only appearance in a non-Beatles related film. Lennon was heavily using LSD at the time, and the band was working only in the studio. Strawberry Fields was released in 1967 and was hailed as astonishingly innovative by Time magazine. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band followed and showcased much different style lyrics than the band's early love song lyrics. Lennon met Yoko Ono, a Japanese artist who he insisted on having by his side at all times. This caused great tension in the band because the other members felt she was not only a distraction, but the cause of some of Lennon's issues. The couple married in 1969 and released a series of lithographs called Bag One, some of which were deemed indecent and banned. Soon after, Lennon left the Beatles but agreed not to perform while negotiations were undertaken. During that time, he spoke of his outrage at Paul McCartney, his bandmate, saying he, quote, got tired of being the sideman for McCartney, unquote. Lennon embarked on a solo career in 1970 and released John Lennon Plastic Ono Band that year. It received acclaim from critics but did not enjoy any commercial success. Lennon craved that commercial success he once had, and so he went back to his earlier songwriting style, releasing 1971's Imagine. Lennon and Ono moved to New York in August of 1971 and became heavily involved in anti-war political movements. They separated in 1973, and Lennon began a relationship with May Pang. By 1974, Lennon was drinking heavily and became infamous for his alcohol-fueled antics with Harry Nilsson, a popular singer and songwriter. Okay, I admit I had to look up who Harry Nilsson is, but I think you would recognize his song on a lot of movie soundtracks, even if you're far too young for this era of music. It was called Everybody's Talkin'.
Everybody's talking at me, can't hear a word they're saying.
Lennon set out to produce an album for Nilsson, but too much alcohol and too many drugs doomed the project from the start. Lennon settled back in New York and recorded the album Walls and Bridges, which featured Whatever Gets You Through the Night, a song that features Elton John on backing vocals and piano, and became Lennon's only single as a solo artist to top the US charts in his lifetime.
Whatever gets you through the night, it's alright, alright.
Lennon also co-wrote Fame with David Bowie during this time. He reunited with Yoko Ono shortly thereafter, and she became pregnant with their only son, Sean. Lennon became a house husband, baking bread and looking after the baby. He was a very devoted father, spending all of his time with his son. He finally emerged from a 5-year absence in the music world, recording Just Like Starting Over in October of 1980, and other music that would not be released until after his death. He had finally reached a point where he was in a happy and stable relationship and life that was based around his family. At approximately 5 p.m. on December 8, 1980, Lennon left his apartment, autographed a copy of Double Fantasy for a fan who was standing outside, and left his building, the Dakota, for a recording session at the record plant. After the recording session, Lennon grabbed a corned beef sandwich at Stage Deli, and he and Ono returned home to the Dakota. They exited the vehicle and walked through the archway of the building when gunshots rang out in the quiet night. The murderer was Mark David Chapman, the very fan that Lennon had signed the album cover for earlier in the evening. Lennon was shot 4 times in the back at close range. He was rushed to the emergency room of Roosevelt Hospital, where he was pronounced dead on arrival at 11 p.m. Chapman was a deranged Beatles fan from Hawaii that later claimed he was enraged by Lennon's "more popular than Jesus" remarks. Weren't those remarks from like 10, 15 years earlier than this? That's a long time to claim you're mad about something. I mean, I can be mean, but geez. Chapman flew to New York previously with the intention of murdering Lennon. He claims he was inspired to do so by the book Catcher in the Rye, but he changed his mind at the last minute and flew home. He then returned in December of 1980 and stalked Lennon for 2 days. On the night of the 8th, he fired wildly, striking the Dakota once and Lennon 4 times, severing his subclavian artery and puncturing his left lung. Lennon fell to the ground saying, I'm shot, dropping and scattering cassettes he was carrying from the recording session. Chapman stood calmly after the shooting as police were called. When they arrived, one of them asked, "Do you know what you've just done?" And Chapman answered, "Yes, I just shot John Lennon." The news went out around the world that one of the most famous musicians to ever exist was dead.
3 seconds remaining. John Smith is on the line, and I don't care what's on the line, Howard. You have got to say what we know in the booth.
Yes, we have to say it. Remember, this is just a football game, no matter who wins or loses. An unspeakable tragedy confirmed to us by ABC News in New York City. John Lennon, outside of his apartment building on the west side of New York City, the most famous perhaps of all of the Beatles, shot twice in the back, rushed to Roosevelt Hospital, dead on arrival. Hard to go back to the game after that news flash.
John Lennon was one of a kind. The world mourned him for weeks, and many of us mourn him still. Stay with me now as we make the last meal of John Lennon, right now as we go dining with death. We are ready to cook, except today we're not really cooking, we're making a sandwich, but I promise you it's gonna be a really good one. You know, we're making a corned beef sandwich, so here are the very basic ingredients. You need rye bread. I got marble rye because I like marble rye. Plus, you know, any excuse to do one of my fantastic voices is, you know, good enough for me. So, you know, the old lady on the Seinfeld, when she's fighting with Jerry over the marble rye. I know, you would like think I'm from New York, right? So good. You need regular yellow mustard, just any kind of yellow mustard for the basic sandwich. Swiss cheese, you can use provolone, you can use whatever, but the classic is usually Swiss. And you need good corned beef. This is the brand that my store carries. It's called Boar's Head, and it is quite tasty. Let's put this together. Mustard. Corned beef. I like it when it's kind of crumbly and kind of breaks apart. And this is doing that. And a piece of Swiss. Let's cut it. And there you have it, a basic corned beef sandwich. I'm gonna give it a taste. I love rye bread. It's good. I would be happy to get that in any deli or sandwich shop. But you know I'm not just gonna make a regular corned beef sandwich, right? We're gonna make kind of a corned beef classic Reuben hybrid with some really amazing cheese called halloumi that's from Greece. It's gonna crust on the outside of the bread and get crunchy. We're gonna put a few more dressings, kick it up a little bit. It's gonna be a little bit more moist. We're gonna add sauerkraut. It's gonna be so good. So this is called halloumi cheese. I hope I'm saying that right. And it's what is known as a frying cheese. Kind of like queso blanco, and there's a couple of others. They have a really high melting point and they hold up really well to high heat. So they're perfect for making a crispy crust. We're gonna build our sandwich first. We're gonna put so many good things in this, and then we're going to add this cheese onto the outside. I'll show you how. We're gonna fry it. So you're gonna get not only the bread and all the good stuff that's inside the sandwich, you're gonna get this nice crispy crust on the outside. I talk a lot about layering flavor. Layering flavor doesn't just mean add more stuff. Layering flavor, to me, my definition, means making sure that every ingredient that goes into something is the best version of what it can be. So if you were making soup or you were making some kind of a stew and it had 12 ingredients, all of those ingredients should be treated like they're the star of the show. And that takes time. A lot of people want to shortcut things in cooking, and there are just certain things that nothing makes up for, but time. You have to take time. Caramelizing an onion takes time. Bringing peppers to just the right texture takes time. And if you do those things right, when you're making something, you'll have a fantastic end result. Today we're gonna layer flavors by, I guess, adding a couple of extra things to this sandwich. So it can be adding more things, but it doesn't always have to be just adding more things. Okay, so there's my yellow mustard. Like I said, this is kind of more of a Reuben than a classic corned beef. So here is the Thousand Island, and I'm gonna put it on the bread, and then we'll drizzle a little bit over the top of the corned beef as well. Are you a drier sandwich person, or are you a juicier sandwich person? I like sauce to fall out of my sandwich when I take a bite. My husband wants a dry sandwich, just mustard, bread, meat, cheese. I'm a sauce person. So let's kind of spread that. This is Thousand Island. And if you do not have Thousand Island, don't go buy it. It's just mayonnaise and ketchup and pickle relish. Some people say there's more to it, but you can make it with that. Okay, so there are two spreads. This is our sauerkraut. I personally love sauerkraut. I know it's a very controversial ingredient, but you could give me a pickled dirt clod and I'd eat it. I love anything pickled. Okay, here is this corned beef. And again, I have to say this is actually really quite good. I like my sandwich meat zhuzhed. Kind of scrunched up like a really cute pillow on the couch. You know? Zhuzhed. Pile that up high. Okay, this is gonna be so good. And I'm putting 2 pieces of baby Swiss on because I love cheese. And life is too short to not eat all the cheese. Okay, this is gonna be a little bit tricky, but we're gonna make it work. I almost forgot. I'm gonna drizzle just a little more Thousand Island because I like my sandwiches juicy. All right, let's close this up. I'm going to put a little bit of butter on the outside of each piece of rye bread. I won't do the impression again. I really, really want to. Oh, but I won't, okay. This will kind of help the cheese stick to the bread. Let's take our halloumi cheese. You know, I just want to try this. Really salty, really waxy. It kind of almost falls apart in your mouth. And really, really good. Kind of chewy and tough. Like, what does it remind me of? It's much, much firmer than feta. It's really salty and ooh, it's good. That's really good. Also, I will say it was $10 for this little tiny block, so it ain't cheap, but it's worth it. Now we're gonna fry this. I'm gonna put a little butter in the pan because I'm using a stainless steel pan and I don't want this to stick. Okay, that's how this works. In my mind, this is gonna be really, really good. I actually promised you it was gonna be really, really good, so ooh, I hope it is. This is so much cheese. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. Yeah. When I was about 21, I started a dance school. And I owned it for many, many years, and it actually still exists here in town under a different name. I sold it. But in the summer times, I still had to pay the rent at the dance school, but we didn't have classes. So I would go wait tables at a Greek restaurant called Beatles. And she had the most wonderful food. She was a fabulous cook and taught me so much. But we had this dish. Have you been to the Greek restaurants? They light the cheese on fire and say, "Opa!" That's what this smells like. Gosh. Baby, look at that. Sometimes my ideas work. Sometimes they don't. Wow. I am so excited to taste this. Layering of flavor. There's cheese on the inside, and we're using cheese a different way on the outside. So similar ingredients used in different ways, layering flavor. This is why you need a frying cheese. Most cheese would just turn into mush. I mean, you know that when you put it in a pan like this. But because this is a frying cheese, it will hold up to this extreme heat and it will sear like that. This is making me want that Korean street food with the tteokbokki, the rice cakes, when you line them up with mozzarella sticks and fry it in a pan. Have you guys seen that? If you haven't seen those, go check out one of my favorite cooking channels on YouTube, which is Mangchi. She is the sweetest little Korean lady that teaches you all about Korean food. It's, I don't even know how many hours I've spent watching her. Oh my, it weighs like 8 pounds. Look at this thing. Oh my gosh, oh, it's hot. I would normally try to stack that up and make it a little prettier, but I don't dare because it weighs so much. Let's add some gorgeous pickles to this. You gotta have a pickle with a corned beef sandwich. You guys. There's sandwiches, and then there's sandwiches, right? I'm so excited for this. I can't even tell you. You can see the dressing. You can see the corned beef. You can see the little bits of pickle relish that are in the Thousand Island dressing, the sauerkraut, mustard, it's all there, and then this crispy cheese. Hold on a minute. I know I made this, and it's rude to talk about your own food being really good, but it's not like I'm saying I made the ingredients. Just the addition of that cheese on the outside. This is a fantastic sandwich. I don't know if you can hear it, but the halloumi cheese is squeaking when I bite it, when I chew it. Oh, I wish I had a mirror right now because I'm sure that is everywhere, but I'm a person who loves a Reuben. I will order a Reuben in a good deli, but I don't like a mediocre Reuben. I like them to be really good. And I love this one. Take a bite. That's the perfect accompaniment with this sandwich. I will definitely be making this again. At $10 a brick of cheese, I'm not kidding you guys, I used almost all of that cheese. So this would be a very expensive sandwich, but sometimes we have to treat ourselves, right? Thank you for joining me today as we made corned beef sandwiches, the last meal of John Lennon. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you so much. Like and subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I'll see you next time on Dining with Deb.